Shalom Yashrala, this is your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone and taught us his truth and never well. And citation and much love for you, Akim, pushing his truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So we're going to jump into this here article which says financial worries of Americans surge. All right. And it's becoming more and more evident that, this here place Babylon the Great is circling the drain. All right. The grinding has ceased. All right. The food cost is going up. All right. Housing prices, this has been kind of hot and heavy in the news over the last couple of weeks, man. All right. We have more and more of these places called or not called, but more and more places like Skid Row. There was another place out in Philadelphia. I was looking at it's not called, I don't know if it's Covington or Kensington or something like that. It's a place out in Philadelphia, man. Hey, it looked like a third world country, but you having more and more of these areas throughout America that's popping up. All right. You had, a couple of years back where they called it the gig-like economy. More and more people are living with their parents and their families and things like this. All right. But hey, it's just, how do I say, more and more signs that the golden city is starting to cease. All right. So it says financial worries of Americans surge. More than half are concerned about maintaining their standards of living, a Gallup survey reveals. Americans are markedly more concerned about their personal finances compared to last year, with a significant portion reporting that they're very or moderately worried about making ends meet, a Gallup poll released on Monday reveals. And they're talking about last year because, like the scriptures say, victory shall be so good cheap. All right. They should think themselves to be in a good case, but even then shall evils grow upon the earth. All right. Hey, back then, what was going on last year and things like that? Yeah, we was in the middle of the pandemic, but that's when they was rolling out all these stimulus packages and these PPP loans and everything else like that. You started seeing all these paper tag Hellcats and everything else. Everybody was out there flossing and they got their PPP money and everybody was, doing the money phones and the money slides and everything else like that. But now all of a sudden, people are quite quiet about a lot of things right about now, man. All right. When right before the pandemic started, you had the spirit of we living our best life to now, they trying to, they was all silent. They went from living their best life to being silent. And then now they was trying to go for the so-called bounce back. But now, hey, they're how do I say, immediately admitting defeat right about now. All right. So it says more than half, 52% of poll respondents expressed worries about maintaining their standard of living, a 7-point increase over the previous years. And, again, you could look further into a lot of these numbers. The majority of these folks are these Edomites because Jake don't really have a sense of urgency when it comes to financial woes and things like that, because in reality, Jake pretty much ain't never really gotten nothing to begin with. So it's kind of hard for them to even measure what they really have and what they don't have. They don't really measure their finances in the long term, more or less to say, they think that they kind of doing good if they got money in their pocket right now, but they don't look at, the so-called long-term effects of certain things. But these Edomites are looking at, well, the prices of the groceries is going up, and how long are we going to be able to sustain all this? And, living, now a lot of these Americans now, these Edomites, they went from living off of their savings. Right now their savings are depleted. Now they're living off of credit and credit cards and things like that. Now the price of this their credit is about to start increasing. All right. What they call the interest rates and things like that are starting to go up and everything else like that. Just not too long ago, people were so-called selling houses for record-breaking numbers and everything else like that. But, people get caught up into the illusion of all these things as things is going good. But in reality, things is getting worse and worse for them, man. All right. So it says more than 52% of poll respondents expressed worries about maintaining their standard of living, a 7-point increase over the previous year. The sharpest increase was seen among those concerned about being able to pay their monthly bills, with 40%, an 8-point uptick since 2021, expressing worries over those responsibilities. Concerns have also grown by 5 points regarding rent and mortgage payments, credit and credit card bills, and retirement savings. All right. Again, like I said, this is predominantly talking about these damn Edomites because Jake not really living like this to have these so-called type of numbers and things like that. Jake typically live paycheck to paycheck. They get their little payments or whatever, and then they go and they spend them and things like that. They don't really have like how you would say retirements and major credit cards and things like that to live off of. If Jake got a little credit card, it's basically for BS spending and things like that. It's not like a necessity that they need to live off of. All right. Whereas the majority of the Edomites, if you know about finances and things like that, a lot of Edomites predominantly live off of credit. All right. So it says, where are we at? It says concerns have also grown by 5 points regarding rent, mortgage payments, credit card bills, and retirement savings. Worries occupying the mid 35%, 22%, and 63% of poll respondents, respectively. The one financial issue that has remained static were those related to medical bills, paying for their children's education. The poll was conducted in the first 3 weeks of April alongside another survey, which showed American personal estimation of their finances were similarly dismal and revealed that their financial self-image was a downward spiral amid steep concerns about inflation and cost of energy. However, medical bills and retirement savings have remained among chief concerns for families. And again, like I said, this is going into where more of a measurable class, what these Edomites have, because you can ask Jake how they doing financially. They're like, shit, I got $1,000 in cash, and that's all they got. They don't really, that's not no real wealth or anything else like that. If you can't sustain yourself over let's say a $500 woe, like whether it be let's say a financial burden, let's say a car problem for $500, a medical bill or something else like that, because you'd be afloat like that. They tell you that, most Americans nowadays can't even sustain a $500 so-called crisis or something like that to happen into their life, let alone Jake. When you look at a lot of these people getting evicted of these apartments, they can't afford a new down payment into another apartment and things like that, all right? So it says the poll was conducted in the first 3 weeks of April alongside another survey. We just read that. It says, perhaps unsurprisingly, financial worries among the poor have increased more than among the rich. Nearly 3 in 4 low-income adults, 73%, worry about maintaining their standard of living, and increase to 17 points, while just 36% of the wealthy share these concerns. And again, like I keep saying, these is going into a lot of these Edomites. And I keep putting that out there because if these are the Edomites that are having problems with these things, where is there room for Jake? All right. And we're talking about the so-called middle class, the regular people, these Edomites that live in these so-called nice houses to the regular people. We're not talking about like the higher ups, and things like that, because, contrary to popular belief, not too many people make, well over 6 figures in America and things like that, depending on where you live at, but just the average income and things like that, man. All right. So if these people are in worry, all right, the people who so-called have mortgages on their homes and have cars and things like that, the people that you wouldn't think of that's not living paycheck to paycheck, if they're now in financial woes and worries, where is there room for Jake at right about now? And again, Jake is typically oblivious to all these types of things. So they don't even really, how do I say, they're not even concerned about these things coming over the horizon. They're not even looking for these things. Whereas, these people that have that, had savings and things like that, that they can monitor, damn, all my savings are gone now. My retirement plan is gone now. My 401k is gone now. You know what I'm saying? Like if they're the ones, if they losing all their so-called wealth and things like this, all right, and they see that they're about to be in financial straits, how much more somebody who don't even have enough money to have a savings? Where do you think that their position is going to be at, man? All right, so, hey, man, this here place is coming to a grinding halt. All right, it says while the financial fears of Americans dipped last year as recovery from the pandemic depression appeared to be on the horizon, most of that optimism has been erased, with many of the 2022 negative figures matching or even eclipsing those reported in 2020. And really, that's just a false excuse of, why things are going bad the way they are. All right, let me grab this before I grab that. This is a false narrative, because like I said, before you even had the pandemic and everything else like that, they had a gig-like economy and things like that. You had people getting part-time jobs, secondary jobs, the Uber and everything else like that. All right, before the pandemic, all right, retail stores was shutting down. You had these big retail markets from the Kmart's, Toys R Us. All this before the pandemic. Then the pandemic hit. All right, you had a lot more jobs shutting down and everything else like that. And, all of a sudden you got more and more people unemployed. All right, and the cost of living is starting to skyrocket right about now. The cost of food is skyrocketing right now, man. All right, people can't even get, the bare necessities anymore. So, hey, there's a big financial burden that's coming around the corner, man. And, like I keep saying about Jake don't realize they still out here buying Jordans and going out and popping bottles and things like that, not realizing that, hey, man, there's a great financial woes coming around the corner, man. All right, but hey, if like I said, these middle class folks that are used to paying a mortgage in the house and so-called where Jake will look up, oh, they living nice and everything. Hey, if they over here in straits and they becoming the low class, hey, where's the bottom at, man? All right, so this is Jeremiah 51:7, it says, Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. It says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. All right, and you have both of these presidents, whether it be Donald Trump, who said, make America great again, or Joe Biden, who says, build back better. All right, hey, you can even go back as far as Obama. He was talking about having so-called change because what happened before Obama? You had the 2008 housing crisis, the recession of 2008, and everything else like that. Like I said, before the pandemic even happened, America was so-called broke, and they sold you the illusion that things was bouncing back, things was getting better, and everything else like that. Hey, they had shipped a lot of jobs away at that point in time. So how are you going to say that the economy was bouncing back when the jobs had pretty much those manufacturing jobs had already left America? All right, and everything else since then has just been more and more. How do I say? More and more burdens on the working sector, man. All right, now they're hitting on the how you call it, the food and produce sector and things like that, man. All right, so this place is circling the drain, man. This here place is done, man. Babylon is finished, man. All right, this is Babylon has suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. It says we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one into his own country. For her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even to the sky. So, we're at a point now where Babylon, the sins of Babylon, all the little wickedness that Babylon's been putting out into the earth, man, selling these nations through witchcraft and everything else like that, and plundering all these other nations and spoiling all these other people. Now the recompense is coming back on Babylon, man. All right, now Babylon, like I said, there was I think it's called Kensington or Covington or something like that, Philadelphia, Skid Row. All right, all these different places. What is it? The poorest neighborhoods in America and things like that. You can go on YouTube and watch these people walk around through these cities and they look like a third world country. But this is here modern day in America, man. All right, where everybody think everything is all doing all good, and then these people. Matter of fact, let me grab that while it's hot on my mind. These people think that everything is sweet, but things ain't all that sweet right about now. Actually, it's maybe it was 16. Yep. Second Ezra 16 and verse 21, it says, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth that they shall think themselves in a good case. And again, when the pandemic hit, people started worrying about things when the lockdowns came and everything. But then all of a sudden, what did they do? They so-called wooed the people with what? Like the scripture said, gift destroyed the heart. All right, it put all these people in a different mindset from being afraid and everything else like that. Oh, stop panicking, man. They got a stimulus checks. They got PPP loans. If you ain't, you actually had Jake talking about something. If you ain't got a business by now, or if you ain't got no money by now, if you ain't got a bag by now, there's something wrong with you. Everybody got a bag right now. How you got a bag right now in a sense where there's no production, no work, all right, nothing like this. They can give you money, but there's no way to sustain that money, man. All right, it's just like, somebody hit we give you, let's just say a mansion, all right, the mansion is paid off, right? Now you ain't got to pay for the mansion, but now you got to pay the upkeep, man. You can't afford the light bills to keep the lights on in the mansion. You can't pay the water bill to keep the water flowing inside the mansion. You can't pay the lawn service to keep the grass cut in the mansion. So eventually you're going to wind up going bankrupt, even though you don't have to pay for the mansion, just the upkeep alone for that. So they can give you, a so-called bag of money, but if you can't sustain that, it's not really worth it, man. All right, and that's what these people aren't realizing, that, hey, there's no sustainability with all these things, man. The floor has fallen out from up under you, so you have no foundation to stand on. And plus, things is getting further and further away from you to be able to attain, whether it be groceries, housing, or healthcare, anything else like this. So, hey, man, again, this here place, Babylon is suddenly falling, man. All right, and they don't quite know what's going on. It's the pandemic. It's this, is that. Hey, man, go back 2008. All right, America pretty much, it was in a decline. It's been in a decline, but since 2008, it ain't never really bounced back, man. All right, everybody think that things is getting better and better and better. You can look at little tick marks. So, they was giving us stimulus packages, but now look at where you at now, man. All right, after all those stimulus packages then dried up, those PPP loans then dried up, now what are you doing, man? Out here looking for some more money again, all right? It says, at 2 Ezra 16 and 21, it says, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth that they shall think themselves in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. All right, and going into what? The sword, you got wars and rumors of wars, which is causing, the price of food and certain products to skyrocket right about now, man. All right, there's more and more articles in the news every day about, basically the squeeze on the food markets and things like that, man, the shipping markets and things like that, man. All right, so, hey, it's getting harder and harder, the baby formula and things like that. So it's becoming a burden on the earth right now to survive as far as financially because of what? A lot of trade and food and famines and things like that based off of what? Wars. All right. So it says famine and great confusion. And again, with a lot of these wars and trades and things like that and sanctions going on around, it's also hurting, not to say the productivity of food or just the processing and getting food shipped around. All right, so hey, pretty much everybody, and this is a global scenario. This is not just a city or a state or just a country. This is globally. All right, and everybody's pretty much feeling these here woes, man. All right, how is it that Babylon being the golden city where everything, uh, uh, um, this how I would say the pinnacle of all these other nations in the middle of wars and everything else. Most Americans was still so called living it up and still so called doing good. Now again, like I kept pulling out in that their article, all those measurements was talking about those what us as Jake would look at these Edomites, man, they doing good. They living good. They over there driving a Benz. They got a 2-story house. They live in a gated community. Well, yeah, that's typical middle class Americans. That's not really even the high class Americans over there, man. But if those people are feeling the straits and they're feeling the woes, how much more is Jake that's out here, living in these apartments and everything else like that, that's getting evicted and everything else like that, man. All right, you seeing people who have again this middle class working as accountants and things like that. All right, becoming homeless, living in hotels and going to work and everything else like that. When you think of homeless people and people living in hotels, you think of, people that strung out on drugs and everything else like that. No, we talking about people who got a regular job, or a career path, or even went to college and got a degree and working in some of these areas and things like that. Now finding themselves in financial woes and financial straits, man. All right, and they already talking about how, it's going to be a food shortage come, what is it, the winter time, man, all right, or fall time. All right, so hey, man, things ain't looking so good for this here place here in Babylon. All right, let me go to Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 1. It says, "Remember now that thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasures in them. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, or the clouds return from the rain." All right, matter of fact, let me go back up. Hey, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth. All right, while yet the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, have no pleasures in them. Because hey, we're coming into a time now where these people are lamenting. They're mourning. All right, things is getting bad. Now you should be seeking the Lord. Especially depending on how long you've been in this here truth and learning about these things, man. A lot of us have been learning about this here truth before the wars, the rumors of wars, the pandemic, and the woes, and where people had to like I said, with the pandemic, there was a point in time where everybody was sitting at home and shut down, and they was watching the internet, and that's when they started finding out about things, when the evil days started coming upon them, when they was getting that squeeze put on them. But hey, think about it, those that have been finding out about this truth when you still had that leisure time to go out, and the so-called the fountains was flowing all good and everything else like that, man. All right, but now all of a sudden we're coming into these dark times where people are, it's like people are so-called apt to become religious or believe when they're in dire straits. You can have these people that's out here living their life up and everything going good. I don't believe in God or this and that, but then let them get into an accident or be on their deathbed or have their child on their deathbed. Like, y'all pray for me. See, in the bad times, then that's when you want to come and seek the Lord. But hey, the scripture says, seek the Lord while he may be found, man. All right. Verse 3, it says, "In the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease." Let me go back up. "In the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves." Again, you've seen a lot of these economists, all right, telling you about how bad things are. All right. A lot of these people that, like I said, the ones that have like retirement plans, 401k plans, savings accounts, and things like that. The people that's able to how do I say, to be able to measure, to accurately be able to measure finances and how bad things are going. Because, again, like Jake, who just living paycheck to paycheck, that ain't even got no damn bank account because they don't even hold money long enough to even put it in a bank account. You can't, for them, they gonna just always see, oh, I got money in my hand right now, so I'm doing all right. You know what I'm saying? But somebody who's had savings for, so long, and oh, I got so much money, I can see every year that my savings account getting bigger and bigger. My 401k account is getting bigger and bigger. To now, all of a sudden, now we got to start dipping into our 401k savings account, man. Now we got to start dipping into, or selling our house and downgrading our house and everything because we can't afford this here mortgage no more, man. We got to get rid of one of the cars because we can't afford to make 2-car payments no more. Or my wife got to go get a job now because we can't just live off of my income no more. These are the people who are able to measure these things. And also, again, these top economists, the people that's actually looking at these things that's going forth, man, these business owners and things like that. I was watching this one thing about going into the economy and stuff like that, and this one guy was saying about he actually loses money every time he sells like a chicken finger platter or whatever, like some chicken fingers, chicken tenders or whatever. He's like, I should be charging like $24 for this because this is just the market price of this here stuff now. I'm not sure if it was actually $24, but something, let's just say $24 when he's in reality selling it for $12, He's like, well, I can't just raise up my price like that. People wouldn't buy it, but really it's costing me this amount of money. So every time I sell this, I'm actually losing money on this, man, because of the cost of all these things is just going up, man. All right, and as you go around, you start to see the price of a lot of things is starting to skyrocket right about now, man. All right, so hey, these people are starting to realize, these people that's actually watching the economy and things like that, they actually realize there's a squeeze getting put on. But you have Jake that's still out here naive, like I said, just out here buying Jordans, going out and popping bottles and things like that until what, ultimately everything comes to a complete screeching halt, man. All right, then they're gonna be out there crying in the streets. But hey, Jake is kind of used to not really having none. So hey, it says, in the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened, and the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. And so going into, the grinding cease and the doors being shut in the streets is indicative to what? A lot of these businesses coming to a halt. All right, shutting down, major layoffs and things like that, cutting back in hours. All right, you've seen the unemployment rate skyrocketing and things like this. A lot of people moving out of their houses, apartments, and things like that because they can't afford these things no more, man. All right, showing forth that what this here economy is coming to a screeching halt, man. All right, so hey, you can say what you want to say. Oh, this ain't affecting me. It ain't affecting this. We was talking about the grocery store shelves becoming empty and everything. Some people say, oh, it ain't in my town. But now you circle back on around and look at their grocery stores nowadays. They either have the bare shelves or the prices of things are skyrocketing inside the stores. They can't even afford it. They was talking about the price of chicken wings and things going up. And now you have this bird flu that's going on. They culling off all these animals and things, man. All right, so hey, man, there's a squeeze coming from all different ends and all different angles. As we can see, measuring the time diligent or the so-called lifespan of America, hey, it don't seem that much more longer, man. This here place is ripe for the falling, man. This is being prepped and being ready to be spoiled. All right, let me grab this. We'll go actually close out soon. Let me grab this in Isaiah chapter 24 because, hey, this is this here place. All right, this is Isaiah 24. I'm gonna start at verse 7. It says, the new wine mourneth, the vine languish, all the merry hearted do sigh. All right. And so, hey, you got these people that's out here that's normally in a spirit of mirth and joy and everything else like that. All right. Now they out here, go to the bars nowadays, or we'll get to it further down. But hey, go to the bars nowadays and see a lot of these people out here consuming all this here alcohol just for for the sorrow and everything else like that. Matter of fact, what was it, yesterday or something like that? I stopped into a restaurant to go grab some food, and you got to go over to the bar to go grab your food and everything else like that. And going inside to go pick up my food and everything, man, everybody sitting around the bar, they all just like got a sad look on their face. They all quiet and just sitting there. They all got a strong drink right there in front of them. But look, man, let me read on down. It says, new wine mourneth, the vine languish, all the merry hearted do sigh. The mirth of tabrets cease, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of harp cease. So hey, there's not a lot of celebration that's going on in this here place like that no more, man. All right, the ones that's in the know of certain things like that, they don't have anything to celebrate or the means to celebrate. Of course, Jake gonna sit here and turn up for whatever reason they can, but that's their so-called escapism. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, hey, these that really know about what's going on, like, you know what, we don't have enough money now for your graduation party. These Edomites and stuff. Normally, when you turn at a certain age, we buy you your first car and everything. We ain't got enough money for that no more. We ain't got enough money to send you to college and things like that no more, man. We had to sell the business and everything. So hey, you could even measure the thing, the lifespan based off of that. And you can see this place has come to an end. Verse 9, like I was just speaking on, they should not drink wine with the song, and strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. And, the cost of, or the alcohol sales is skyrocketing right now, drugs and everything else, man. All right, like I was saying, I went in to go pick up that food the other day, and people was all sitting at the bar and everything else. Like, the restaurant was pretty empty. They might have had 2 tables with some people sitting at the tables, but the rest of the people inside the whole establishment was at the bar. All right, they all got a damn strong drink, and they just sitting there quiet as like a mouse. Like, damn, ain't nobody in here got nothing going on. They all just sad, looking down and everything else like that. But what? They out there drinking their sorrows away, man. I see this one guy damn near all the time at the little gas station. He worked for, let's just say, a delivery service. He be getting off, what I'm saying? He always in the damn store buying him some beer, or either at the damn bar or something like that, coming from the bar, all right, and buying lotto tickets. And it's like, damn, bro, like, why don't you just go home? But you could just see it in his face, man. He's lingering around at the damn gas station for so long just so he don't have to go home and face the music. But this is the time that we living in right about now, man. People trying to make ends meet. People are in that sorrow. People are in that, that state of mind to where it's like, damn, we don't know how much longer we gonna make it. But hey, the joy of this here place is ceasing, man. All right. Verse 11, it says, there's a cry for wine in the streets. Skip some. Verse 10, the city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up that no man may come in. All right. And again, like I was speaking on some of these different cities, the poor cities in America or the worst hoods in America. All right. Look up some of these places. I think, like I said, it's Kensington or Covington or something like that. Philadelphia, Skid Row. All right, all these different places like that, man. You see these people where it's just like poverty all over the place. Tent cities in America, man. All right, homelessness and drug usage in America, man. All right, is marking the end of this place, man. Babylon was the golden cup in the Lord's hand. Now this place has become a third world country, man, a pure hellhole, man. And look at the irony of it all. They got billions of dollars sent to other countries to aid them, but they ain't got no money to feed the poor over here. All right. It says there's a crime for wine in the streets. There's a crime for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. All right. And that's the point here, here in America, man. The mirth of the land is gone. Nobody's really out here rejoicing and turning up and celebrating, buying this and buying that and living it up and, just living a so-called best life. People used to laugh and mock at us and say, oh, y'all bums, go get a job and go out there and live life and everything else like that. Nowadays, they can't even stomach themselves to put their lips together to say, go out there and go have some fun, live your life up, because they know they can't even go out and afford to go do these things nowadays, man. All right, but hey, the men of the Lord are rejoicing right now, seeing the downfall of this here place. It's just these people that's holding on to their little, their love of this here wicked ass place. Is they're the only ones that sorrowing because they see this wicked ass place coming to an end. All right. It says, there's a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. And the city is left desolation. And the gate is smitten with destruction. Hey, and that's this place to a T, man. This place is smitten with destruction, man. All right. You could pretty much look at it as an old boarded up neighborhood with no trespass. And that's what America as a whole has become. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone and taught us this truth and her will. And salutation and much love for you. I can pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.